This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the best online retailer for Magic the Gathering singles and sealed product. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 source for Magic the Gathering news and content.
Hi, my name's John, and this is my Animar Soul of Elements deck. So we have Animar, Soul of Elements. He is a 1/1 elemental, a protection from white and black. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a 1/1 counter on Animar. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less for each 1/1 counter on them. So my deck is a little different than most other Animar decks. When it was first built, it was 40 lands with 60 creatures, counting Animar. And then when Primal Surge came out, it became 40 lands, 1 spell, and 59 creatures, counting Animar. So we'll go through this, and since the whole deck is basically creatures, he seems like the ideal general. So we have 4 of each basic land. Forest, islands, and mountains. Then we have lands that cast for, or will tap for any color, so Reflecting Pool, Thran Quarry, of course, it's all creatures, Command Tower. Opal Palace is great for when people are killing off Animar, because when I play him again with this in play, he'll get a good boost of his counters back. Again, I'm playing all creatures, so this is usually not relevant. Shivan Reef, dual land. Rootbound Crag, Hinterland Harbor. Then we have Filter Lands, Cascade Bluffs, Flooded Grove, Firelit Thicket. And then we have our Shock Lands, Stomping Ground, Breeding Pool, Steam Vents. And then we have our Ravnica Bounce Lands, Gruul Turf, Izzet Boilerworks, and Simic Growth Chamber. Now the deck is all creatures, so I need some kind of extra card draw, so I have an all 3 cycle lands. My only fetch, but it's useful. Being able to cast creatures as instants is great, and so Winding Canyons and Alchemist's Refuge are in here. Oran-Rief is great because it helps out with giving counters to Animar and other creatures that need counters. Temple of Frostcald, well, when you're playing all creatures, this is my Soul Ring. Homeward Path. Well, the deck doesn't like bribery or other ways to kill or to take my creatures, so may as well get them back. Reliquary Tower. Surprisingly enough, I get a lot of card draw in this deck. And 10 power is pretty simple to get. So playing free spells, including Primal Surge, is amazing. On to the creatures. Start off with creatures that kind of like to have counters. Champion of Lampholt is pretty good. Makes most of my creatures unblockable. Forgotten Ancient helps add counters to Animar and other things like the Champion. Then I have a package of Cascade. 4 creatures, but it really does help out. Shardless Agent, Bloodbraid Elf, Etherium-Horn Sorcerer, and everyone's favorite Maelstrom Wanderer. Things do die, and sometimes I need to get them back. So, Eternal Witness and Artisan of Kozilek, the only Eldrazi in the deck. Deadwood Treefolk. All of those help me get my things back. Now, I do have a bit of a mana help or mana fixing creatures to round it out. In case Animar is dead and I can't bring him back, removed, whatever. This also helps out with casting Primal Surge, because it is a 10 mana spell with no major mana ramp. Rattleclaw Mystic, Sakura-Tribe Elder, Gyre Sage. I have cast Primal Surge with this on 1 tap before. Solemn Simulacrum, amazing when he's free. Who doesn't like a mana flare on a 7/5 body? Vorinclex. Hey, I know he's not the nicest guy on the table, but I am playing all creatures. Creatures do die a lot in this format, so I do need it. He's not too bad to help out with a little bit of control. Coralling Oracle, probably the best common ever printed. Draw a card or get a land. I do have a very good clone or copy package. So Phantasmal Image. Phyrexian Metamorph, sometimes my other Soul Ring. Drax Duplicate. The best thing about this is that he has haste. Dethrone is just an added bonus. Clever Impersonator. Well, I now can copy Planeswalkers. Sakashima Student. Pretty decent. And Sakashima herself. It's always nice to have 2 Animars on the play. Gilded Drake is a somewhat new addition for my deck. It's pretty good if I don't have the best creature on the board, I can trade it for this. Teferi is great for having a little bit of control. I don't like people playing things on my turn because I just like to be able to play my creatures and go. Void Mage, kind of a little bit of secret tech. Not a lot of people are expecting it. It's great to stop a lot of things. Fetch lands, activations of even Sensei's Tops, which is hilarious. There are many different ways that it will help out in the game. It just randomly will counter something. But at the best, at the worst, and then at the best, it can be bounced multiple times to add counters to Animar. Good counter spell that can come back. Plus, with a little bit of a +1/+1 counter theme, I can always add more counters to it, so it doesn't die as often. Mystic Snake, an oldie but a goodie. Draining Welk, hey, counter spell with a big body. I don't mind. Venser, bounce and counter. I like it. So tuck is a thing in the format, so if Animar gets tucked, I can get it back. Or I can go get Maelstrom Wanderer or even Forgotten Ancient. There's a lot of possibilities with this. Again, this will help out with tuck effects, or it can bounce something that's bothering me in the game. Fierce Empath normally gets Maelstrom Wanderer, but you can get other things as well. Fathom Mage, pretty good card draw, as well as it can be a pretty big beat stick. Edric, good card draw and kind of pseudo protection. Sometimes when I play this, people won't attack me because they want to get card draw of other people. Prime Speaker Ziggurat is pretty good in the deck because it usually ends up being my biggest creature. But the card draw is just what makes it phenomenal. Duplicate, hey, when it's free, it's even better. Loman Shaman, really helpful against Mimeoplasm decks, Carador decks, and other graveyard decks. Or if I've blown out and people have wrathed quite a few times, then I can play this and get everything back and just start my game over again. Terastodon is a great card. I don't care that you're getting 3/3s because 9 times out of 10, my creatures are bigger. Another card for Graveyard Hate, Scavenging Ooze. Trigon Predator. I put this in and I've taken it out. And I've put it back in mostly because of Torpor Orb. With Torpor Orb comes into play, I can't do anything because all my deck is coming to play effects. So with this, I have somewhat of a way to be able to deal with it or other troublesome artifacts or enchantments. Species Gorger. It's always good to be able to reuse things. Earl Brask, the Hidden. Your creatures come into play tap. Mine have haste. I don't mind that. Deadeye Navigator. Another creature that a lot of people are complaining about in Commander, but I don't think it's really all that bad. Yes, I do have some lock conditions with being able to flicker out my counterspell creatures and stuff. But being a almost 100% creature deck, I do need some sort of support. 9 times out of 10, I end up using this on something that is a little bit more useful, like the Fierce Empath, so I can end up getting more creatures in my hand. Momir Vig, Simic Visionary. Perfect include for a deck like this, where I can end up searching for creatures. It's also another way to get Animar back if he is tucked. Prophet of Kruphix and Seedborn Muse. Both are great cards for this deck. They untap my creatures. And it's in my lands, so I can do more things. Palinchron can be a win condition in its own, because it can, if once Animar has 5 counters on it, or even like 3 counters on it, it gives me infinite mana, and I'm able to bounce Palinchron and make Animar huge, and then swing and kill somebody. It's also just great to help out with other things. Crater Hoof, Behemoth. Well, it's a win condition on a stick. With all the creatures, I usually get a +10/+10 or more. Stalking Vengeance, a few times I've wanted to take it out, but then I'm always reminded that Wrath effects and destroy all my creatures are a thing in the format. So when I play him, people tend not to Wrath right away because they can usually die. If I've got 10 creatures on the board and they have at least 4 cards in hand, that's 40 damage right there. So it all depends on what's the board state is, but sometimes I'll go grab him to stop a Wrath. Venger of Zendikar, auto-include in a deck like this. Also really funny when I do Primal Surge and this comes into play, I end up having like 30 plant tokens. It's hilarious. Wormcoil Engine, amazing creature, all around, kill stuff, gain life, helpful in both parts, harder to kill, and usually gets cast for free. Mojin of Life's Web. The Mojins are usually not too good in the format, even though they're huge creatures, but since Animar can play him for 3 green, when I cast him, and then I have a bunch of cards in my hand, usually they're all creatures, so, you know, they all come into play. Pretty good card. Ruach Thar is for my matchups versus blue decks, black decks, even sometimes some red decks, or red and other decks, just to control it a bit, that people will not deal damage, or they will not cast spells that will bother me too much, unless I am too much ahead of the game than everyone else. Then they'll play that Wrath of God to take the 6 damage, because, you know, it's better than taking all the damage from my creatures. Kira, great glass spinner, is amazing protection. Vigor, recent include. I've been trying to get this for a while, but no one wanted to trade it. An amazing card for this deck. Animar blocks, takes few damage, gains all that counters. Such good synergy. Soul of New Phyrexia, great protection. When I saw this in the spoilers for M15, I was like, I have to get one. Archetype of Endurance. I can have Hexproof, you can't. It's a good way to stop Earl and other Hexproof generals, or at least slow them down. Laboratory Maniac, the only reason this is in here is for my Primal Surge combo. Since there are no other spells other than Primal Surge, everything in my library will get put into play. With all the triggered effects of draw cards, I will gain... I will draw cards with no cards in my library, so I win the game instead. Not too bad. I have had people, since they know that this combo is in there, take out Laboratory Maniac, but because I have so many great, good interactions with my creatures, Primal Surge will usually still win me the game if I just go for about 10 or 15 cards. So that was my Animar Soul of the Elements deck. Please subscribe and favorite below. Have a good day.